Well, here we are again, Retro Lovers, episode 8.5. So, we've just played through A Boy and His Blob, Mega Man 1, Alex Kidd and Castlevania 2, right? And we're about to hit the launch of the Mega Drive, so what games did I miss here? First up is Solar Jetman. DH098017, this one is for you. First impressions. Yeah, cool music. So I just learned that this game was by Rare. You know Rare, that company that used to be on top of the gaming world? Well, this was an early Rare game, and the music was by David Wise, who'd later go on to score the Donkey Kong Country games. Another thing to note about Solar Jetman is that it's actually part 3 of Rare's first series of games, the original being Jetpack, the Stamper Brothers' first game. The second game was called Lunar Jetman, and here in the state-of-the-art 8-bit Nintendo, we had Solar Jetman, part 3 and the final game in the series. So let's give it a play. It's divided up into two slightly different styles of play. The first one is your little pod here, which instantly brings back all kinds of memories of asteroids. Very similar concept, you need to thrust to move the pod around, but you need to be careful not to hit anything. Of course, having an actual map to explore, this is a lot more complex than asteroids, but it feels somewhat similar. You've got to use the pod to carry stuff around and bring it back to your mothership, which is the main point of the game. If your little pod gets banged up enough though, it explodes, which leaves you exposed in your little jetpack. This is a bit easier to control, a bit like Mega Man 6 or Jetpack Joyride. Not that I play silly little casual games like that, of course. But you're vulnerable in this state and you can't carry anything, so it's advisable to head back to the mothership as quickly as possible to get a replacement pod. My main issue with the game when I started playing was I just didn't really get what I had to do. It's pretty much non-instructional. You're just thrown in and you're expected to know what your goals are. I suppose back in those days it was just assumed that you would have thoroughly read the instruction book beforehand. Thankfully, in this miraculous modern age, we have the internet, so help is only a few clicks away. The more I played this game, the cleverer I found it to be. There's lots of intelligent little touches, like how each planet you visit has a different degree of gravity, so you have to adjust accordingly. But mostly, it's fairly repetitive, and you find yourself doing the same things over and over, just with some variations on each planet. As a game of its time, Solar Jetman has a surprising amount of depth, and although I wouldn't say it's very accessible to today's gamer, I did find it strangely engaging. Not the greatest game ever, but a pleasant surprise. I can't help but feel most people wouldn't have the patience for it though, so I'll say it sits. There you go, DH. Now you can sleep at night again. The other game I played this week was Bionic Commando. To a lot of people, this game is considered a genuine all-time NES classic, but I have to admit, I kind of missed it. The first time I played this game was a couple of years ago when I downloaded the remake version on PS3. I kind of enjoyed it, but the lack of a jump button annoyed me and I never really got very far. So, let's see if some good old 8-bit charm can convince me to play some more of this strange little military adventure. It all starts off with a bit of pre-story narration talking about a not quite Nazi-ish dictator who's trying to put some evil world domination plot into effect. A military hero called Super Joe went in to stop him, but he got captured. So now your guy, who doesn't seem to have a name, is going right into the enemy territory to bring Super Joe home. The main catch of this game is that the main character has a robotic attachment to his arm that allows him to grapple onto ledges. This is all fine and dandy, reminds me a bit of Samus in Super Metroid, but it comes at the expense of a jump button. It's the kind of thing that shouldn't matter that much. This is just a different style of game. But after years of playing so many side-scrolling games like this, not having a jump button immediately seems strange and alien. The more I played, the more I figured out how to utilise the grapple to get to places I needed to get to, but still, no jump button, Capcom. If your helicopter happens to run into a truck on the map screen, you get sent straight down to sort out the baddies in an overhead level, which is a bit of a change of pace, but a bit strange. It is a pretty decent looking NES game. The graphics are very bright and they have an odd but unique colour palette. 24 years after its release, Bionic Commando is starting to show its age quite a bit. I really like how it's got lots of original ideas, like the grapple hook and the way that the map works, for example. When it comes down to it though, I can see why other series like Mega Man and Castlevania endured while this one just kind of fizzled out. There's something about it that just seems a bit off, and it's hard to put my finger on why, I can definitely see why some people would love it, and I'm sure in 1988 it would have been a challenging but enjoyable oddity. Today, I'm not so sure. I think it sits, though I'll totally understand if you reckon this should stand. If you are interested in playing it for the first time, I'd recommend you pick up the HD remake. At least then it will look nice and pretty. So that's another week down. What catch-up games will I be catching up on next time? Wait and see. Peace out.